song. I love The Cure. I was kidding. How's everyone doing tonight? All right. Unfortunately, I'm not a band, I'm a comedian. But, so how I got this gig tonight was back in August last year, the person who was doing the costume contest didn't show up or wasn't here or something. So a friend of mine says, I think I just threw you under the bus. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I'm like, something, what did I do wrong? He goes, well, they need someone to host a costume contest. Horror Show Jack can do it. I'm like, oh, that's a bus I don't mind being thrown under. Little did I know, when I showed up, I had to organize the whole thing. So I walked in and I'm like, so what do we do? And they're like, well, let's wait for Craig. So they give me a microphone, and I've got everyone standing here, so I'm a jackass with a microphone, so I'm gonna start telling jokes. Then I realized I have little kids 5 feet in front of me, so I'm like, I gotta watch my fucking mouth. So, and I did the whole 15-minute set without cursing once. I was very proud of myself, and so was my girlfriend. But, so I went to Craig and I'm like, would you like a comedy act? Because I mean, I feel like horror is an untapped comedy realm that we've never really tapped into. So he goes, yeah, sure. So if this sucks, you can blame Craig. So, since I'm a huge horror fan, I think I'm playing drums too, cool. So since I'm a huge horror fan, people always ask me, like, who's your favorite slasher? And I always say, right, without any hesitation, Jason Voorhees. And people are like, why? All right, my Jason fans out there, all right. So they're like, why? I'm like, because I can relate to him. Because I was the misfit when I was growing up. I was always picked on. I was the fat kid. I'm still the fat kid. And I know for a fact that if I drowned when I was 12 years old, my mother would have killed every single person at that camp, including the campers. But now, if I didn't drown and I somehow survived in the woods, I wouldn't have. And I saw my mother get decapitated, rest assured, any motherfucker that comes to those woods or that camp, I will kill for the rest of my life. Which probably wouldn't be that long, because I'm not that big, I'm not that skilled, and someone would have killed me real quick. So, how many people love, I mean, I know like a lot of us hate going out in public, but how many people love going to open night at a horror movie? Woo! 2 people. A bunch of people at a horror convention don't like going to see horror movies in the actual theater. Well, I'm going to tell you 2 ways to find me. In a theater during a horror movie, and if you happen to be on a plane with me. 1, if you're in a movie theater with me or watching a horror movie, you look for the asshole laughing. That's me. The more brutal and gory the kill, I'm laughing my ass off. Now, how to find me on a plane. The second the plane, you just hear me in the back, and then you look for the guy grabbing the sword. This is normal, right? We're not gonna die, right? You ever have a stewardess give you the finger? I have. So, anyone ever watched the MTV series of Scream? Okay, now, do you remember the one that had like the bondage mask? Not the one from the movie, they designed their own mask for it?
Yeah.
Anyone else look at that and just think, oh, face? I love that joke because I wait for the crowd like, that's stupid. So, I'm one of the vendors here. My name is Horror Show Jack. Myself and my lovely girlfriend over there with the red mohawk, we're selling fangs and our horror teddy bears in the vendor room. And I love how you're cheering for us, baby. I love you.
Yeah.
So, since I make fangs, a lot of people ask me, are the classics, so Dracula's your favorite? I'm like, I love Dracula, Bela Lugosi is a king, but I like Frankenstein more because I can relate to him. I can't relate to Dracula. He lives in a castle, he's rich, he has servants, he has 3 wives. I don't know how I got her, right? So I can't relate to that. Can I relate to the guy, and people run away screaming, or I touch a girl's hand and she looks at me and goes, that's what I'm used to. And as I'm getting older, I realize like the first 5 to 10 minutes of every day, I'm like Frankenstein. I get out of bed, just walking around, and then I'm like, okay, I'm back to normal. My girlfriend's in the corner, and I'm going, it's alive! It's alive! So, we were at a show last year, and we met Amy Steele, final girl from Friday the 13th Part 2. Absolute sweetheart. She's been a friend of mine for about 12 years. She looks at Angela, and I introduced them, and she looks at she's so pretty. What's she doing with you? And I looked at her and I said, I don't know. Honestly, she's wonderful. I don't know what she's doing with me. I'm just glad she's doing it with me. Get your mind out of the gutters. I saw some kids out there. So we're leaving Days of the Dead, and I saw her and Adrian King at the bar, and I wanted to say goodnight to them. So I went up, and she looks at me and goes, Jack, I'm really glad you came up. I really wanted to apologize to you. And I'm like, for what? And she goes, I thought that was a jerky thing to say to you. What's she doing with you? I'm like, oh my God, Amy, no. I thought that was hilarious. That's what all my friends are saying to me. So that means you're my friend. She goes, well, I've known you for 12 years, of course. I'm like, yeah. A final girl from my favorite series is my friend. I'm happy about that. Now, the thing she said to me that kind of bothered me, though. Last week at Monster Mania, we ran into her in the parking lot, and she walks up and she's like, hey, you guys are still together. I'm just thinking, what the fuck? Come on. I mean, I know I'm nothing great to look at, but I mean, I treat my women right. Well, okay, at least I've done it right this time. She stuck around. So, do we have any Evil Dead fans out there? Nice! So, we finally have an ash bear with the chainsaw hand, and then we have the dead-eyed ash. So when we sell it, we write Evil Ash Bear. So we had a friend of ours working with us last weekend, and at Monster Mania it gets a little crazy because I've been doing it since 2009, so I know a lot of people there. So some people come up to me, message me after the show, goes, I wanted to buy something, but your booth was really busy. I'm like, no, that was just all my friends hanging out with me. So in the chaos, my friend sold, I'm not going to say his name just in case he sees this, but he sold one of the Evil Ash Bears, and in the confusion he wrote Evil Ass. And I have to agree, I'm not making fun of him, that is the funniest mistake that's ever happened at my booth. So I'm just like, I decree, that's what you write when we sell an Evil Ash Bear now. It's Evil Ass forever. So, here's a joke for kids.
Oh God.
We're all kids. So when parents walk by with their little kids, I look at them and I'm like, if your parents don't buy you anything, they don't love you. You might be adopted. I did this once. The father closed his hands on his son's ears so fast. He goes, shh, don't. I'm like, what? He goes, he's adopted. I'm like, so am I. And the fear in their face, because they're looking at my booth and looking at me and going, is this my child's future? I'm like, hey, man. I don't do drugs because I don't make enough money for them. I own my own business and I've never been arrested because I can't find the bodies. Anyone ever heard of a show called C2E2? It's a Comic-Con in Chicago. Don't ask me what C2E2 stands for. No clue. It's just the same company that runs New York Comic-Con. Anyone ever see a short, portly man fall down an escalator? No, it wasn't me, you fucker. I'm not that portly. I'm festively plump. However, this guy's walking up, he's got all these bags, and he's going up to the escalator at the convention center. And you ever see something so horrible, your first reaction is like, I've got to help him? But then that evil voice in the back of your head is, no, wait, I got to see this. Well, he goes up the escalator, and then all of a sudden, but he's not going higher or lower. He's trapped in limbo. And my first thought is, I have to help him. My second thought is, how the fuck am I gonna grab him? Because I'm like, I know with my luck, I'll go and I'll grab him, I'll get pulled into it. Now you got two assholes going up and down the escalator. So some guy walks by, tries to grab him, you see him almost go down, he lets go, he keeps trying to grab him, he's like, and he gave up and he walked away. Security didn't even bother, they just said, fuck him. So somehow he catches himself and he goes up sideways up the escalator. So we go up right behind him and I'm like, I walk up to him because I have to see where this car wreck is going. I'm like, hey man, you all right? And he just looks at me and goes, I'm like, I see why you fell down the escalator. So I have a friend that told me a horrible joke. And no, it wasn't you, Rob. But every time I see a car somewhere where it's either pulled over by the police, abandoned on the side of the road, or a car crash, I'm the asshole that rolls down my window and go, hey! can't park there! Cops hate that. I've been flicked off by a cop too. And I went to do it back, but I'm like, I'm not getting arrested tonight.
Water sports!
So my friend over here, the Buffalo Bill House, and if you get a couple friends together and go for a weekend to this house is awesome. One of the best salesmen I have ever met. That place is awesome. I cannot wait to spend a weekend there. I met him, was it 2 years ago or about a year? 2 years ago. We were talking about the Bloods and the Crips. Why? Because someone was wearing a bandana. And I think it's funny that the Crips wear the red and the Bloods wear the blue. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And he goes, then what does a yellow bandana mean? And I'm like, that's a good point. He looks at me and goes, water sports. So how we became friends, I walked by him in a show, he goes, careful, that guy likes to be pissed on. I'm like, motherfucker. One of my closest friends, and every time I see him, I think, you motherfucker. So getting older, I said this before and I'll say it again. Every morning, it's literally like Frankenstein. I feel more Jason being resurrected. It's like every morning my eyes open and two things go through my head. One, it's like, still in the game. The other is 3, 4. We can count. I can count. So, but it's more like Frankenstein, just like, I feel electricity course through my body. Was I that bad? I feel electricity course in my body, and I just sit right up and go, oh. Because I fucked up my neck ago when I fucked my neck up when I was like 25, and I looked at my doctor and I'm like, Doc, is this signs of getting old? Bastard just grinned at me. You ever be sitting in an urgent care and look, you motherfucker. So it's really funny I'm standing next to a drum set because I used to play drums. When I was 16, we had a jam session with a couple buddies of mine. And when we were done, everyone went down to the basement and started drinking. I wasn't much of a drinker back then because if I came home and my parents smelled alcohol in my breath, you would have never met me. So they're like, hey, Jack, sit in the recliner. Doesn't it look comfortable? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I sit down, they're like, recline it. And I'm like, all right. They're like, you feel weird? No. You feel cold or drafty? I'm looking around, is there a vent? I'm like, did I just sit on wet paint? I'm like, no. He goes, you feel nothing. I'm like, no, why? He goes, oh yeah, Derek's uncle shot himself in that chair a year ago. I'm like, you motherfuckers!
Oh my God.
I have great friends. But also that night I realized, I'm not gonna drink till I'm more responsible, because I'm still waiting for that day to come. But a friend of mine got really drunk and threw up on himself, and the one guy that was driving wouldn't let him get in his car. So they put him in the trunk. And the only thought that went through my head is, I am never drinking around these people, even when I want to drink. And stupidly, I let them leave. But I'm like, the guy was like 6'2", and he looked like a biker, but he was driving a Cadillac. I don't know. But I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything because I don't feel like getting my ass kicked. And I'm thinking, my friend's in the trunk, he's safe. Just as long as they don't get rear-ended on the ride home. So first they put it in drive and drive into the bushes, and I'm just thinking, oh, this is gonna be bad. I'm never gonna see any of them again. They back up and drive away. I called my friend the next day to make sure he was alive. They were, so. What?
You're doing good.
Thank you. How are you doing? Are you enjoying the convention and show tonight? Good. I don't have a music stand and my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, so leave me alone. Oh yeah. Did you know you could get banned from urgent care? Neither did I until I found out. So I'm an asthmatic and I have horrible allergies. So we stayed at a hotel and I reacted to something. So I went to urgent care. We're getting ready to go to another show. The doctor's like, you sound clear. I'm like, meanwhile, I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, well, I don't want to prescribe you a steroid or an antibiotic. Wait a few days, call me on Tuesday. If you're still feeling bad, I'll just call the prescription in. So I wait, I'm still feeling like crap, and I call them. And I'm like, yeah, the doctor told me. And they're like, no, you have to come in for that. I'm like, no, I'm holding the note right here. The doctor told me, no, you have to make an appointment. So after about half an hour of arguing with this person, the amount of obscenities came out of my mouth, and I ended with, see you next Tuesday, fuck off, and I hung up the phone. So again, January, February, I'm reacting to something, so I go back to urgent care. These bastards made me sit there an hour and 15 minutes. Then some bitch comes out of the back room and goes, excuse me, sir? This is a notice. And I'm like, does this mean you won't see me today? I'm like, why'd you make me wait an hour and a half? Like, well, it's sitting on the desk. I'm like, yeah, that's behind the counter. I can't go back there. So I have 3 minutes left, so I'll tell this story. I went hiking with some friends when I was in 8th grade, and my friends had this great idea. Let's go off the trail. I'm like, no, that's not a good idea. Can you believe I used to be the voice of reason amongst my friends? Now I'm the one that gets us killed, you know? So we go off, and we're going through the woods, and we come across a Volkswagen Bug and a bus. There's no roads anywhere, and they're all shot up. I'm starting to get nervous. We continue walking. Giant billboard that makes murder legal says, trespassers will be shot. I'm like, guys, we should turn back. They're like, nah, we didn't see that. It's right there. So we keep walking. Then we come across a thing that I get to make them scared of. There's a divided tree with a must have been freshly skinned deer skull jammed in between the two trees upside down. Now they're getting nervous, and I'm like, you guys ever see Predator? I'm like, what's that in the tree? Dude, you have 3 red dots on your duck. I fucked with them the whole time. And finally we get into what we thought was civilization. It's a bunch of boarded up houses, cars on cinder blocks. We see one guy, I'm like, excuse me, sir, and he goes, woo, woo, and he runs away from us. We're 8th graders. So finally we make it to civilization. We see this guy, I'm like, hey, where are you? He goes, you're in Montague, asshole. All right. So we walk to a Grand Union. Yes, this is a very old story. And out of all my friends, I'm the one that have the reliable parents. So we call my parents. They're like, all right, we'll come pick you up. We walked 5 miles in the wrong direction. If we walked 2 more miles, we would have been in New York State. So my friends look at me, he's like, yo, when your mom and dad show up, can we get ice cream? I'm like, listen, my parents had to stop what they were doing to come pick our stupid asses up. You really think they're gonna show up and buy us ice cream? Mom, dad pull up. My mom goes, hey guys, you guys want ice cream? I'm like, motherfucker. Guys, I'm Horror Show Jack. I'll be back up for a second set. Thank you very much.
You did good!